August, I'm going to say the 8th, because I haven't looked at a calendar in a while. I think it's August 8th. Anyway, it's a Monday, nearby August 8th, and I am on my way to a Walmart, not to sleep in the parking lot, sadly. I'm picking up a random handful of things. I've been doing a lot of work, like I've told you guys, on the Etsy shop that I've got, and it's gotten to a point where the product that I've created no longer fits in the two tiny boxes that I had originally bought for it. So I need to go acquire some different storage opportunities. Taking care of that. A friend of mine asked me to pick some frames up. I got a phone call earlier today. They want to schedule the surgery for my eyes. Gonna give them a call back here when I get back to the house and see if we can get that scheduled and taken care of. And if my attention seems a little off for the rest of this video, that's because I need to really concentrate on the whole driving thing. So yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys in the know, let you know that I am still out here. So I'm still out here getting stuff done. But I will admit I've wussed out on a whole bunch of life, and I've just been kind of hiding in the dim, recesses of the house that I'm staying at. In part because it's dim, and a big problem with being out here is it is so bright out. I'm lucky at the moment. It looks like I'm heading into a nice overcast area, so that's good. But I was sitting out on a patio having lunch with a friend, and that patio was bright. I might possibly have gotten a suntan on my leg. Did some successful Walmart hunting. Did manage to find something that will meet my needs, and some frames that'll meet my host's needs. That was good. We all executed that well. Nobody died. Yes, at this point in time, that is my measure of success. Did anybody die? Okay, then we're fine. Which is gratefully not one of the mottos in the craft room. But there is loose chatter about maybe making a channel on YouTube, because we do have a couple of mottos overall. One of them is fool around and find out. Another is, well, that happened. And, the sub-motto might be, we make these mistakes so you don't have to. And so I'll let you know if that becomes a thing, because I just got to find out how much there is invested in the process of filming one's mistakes. I'm currently doing a polymer clay thing that, if I did it right, is going to look like glass when it's done. That'll be interesting to see clay that looks like glass. I'm curious. There's a bunch of projects in the works in resin, mostly for my co-conspirator. I have to tell you, if I haven't bragged about it yet, she found the cutest seahorse mold. It is just the cutest thing ever. I want to take that seahorse mold and create a leafy dragon, which, for those of you who aren't into marine life, is a seahorse that looks like a multi-leafed plant. It's a weird little seahorse, and they're one of my favorites. But yeah, we're thinking that once I get back in the car, I might have an entire, air plant seahorse farm going on in here, so we'll have to see. So I'm super happy to be recording the fact that I'm driving somewhere right now. Even if it is just to the local Walmart, I'll take it. I'm outside, I'm in my car, in my home, with my air conditioner. And it's not that I couldn't be in my home staying with my friends, but let me tell you, in this heat and these gas prices, I am so grateful that they have let me stay. And it's one less thing I have to worry about. Do I have enough fuel for today? Do I have enough fuel for the summer? Is it going to get so hot that I can't be in my car in the middle of the day? And not having to worry about the cat. And all of that is just a huge peace of mind right now, and I really appreciate that. So shout out to my hosts, J and G. Janet, you all have met on the channel. G hasn't been public on here anyway yet. And so props to both of them for being good people, just in general, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to take a quick slide through the park. I'm going to flip the camera around real quick so you guys can see this other Metro Park. You know how I am about the green spaces, so let me get you this other Metro Park on film and let you see that. We're going to take a little turn here into Sharon Woods. Now, Sharon Woods isn't a place that I hung out at as a kid, But when my son was growing up, this was the closest metro park to where we lived. I showed you guys that townhouse that we lived in, and this is pretty much right near that. And so this is Sharon Woods. And one of the things that's cool about this, I just remembered, when my kid was younger, there were two parks that we went to frequently, this one and the one over by the Park of Roses. And the reason I remember that is that we used to refer to this park as the Green Park and the other park as the Red Park. And the reason for that is that the playground equipment here had green supports, and the playground at the other park had red and I think blue supports. And so my son was better able to tell the parks apart by what color the playground equipment was, because you know, when you're a kid, that is all that matters. I can't remember if you can see the playground from here or from the other one better. You can see it all right from here. One of the things that I liked about the playground here is that back in the day, it had a handicap accessible swing. Now, I have no idea what they have now. I'm not going to aim at the playground equipment because there are lots of little kids on it. Which is another concept that my son's father and I agreed pretty heavily on, is that neither of us were willing to allow our son's face and name to appear at the same time on any given website. And it blows me away how many parents just don't even think about it, don't even care about it. And I really appreciate that we protected his anonymity until he was old enough to make decisions on his own about how much he may or may not want his face plastered all over the internet. So if you think about it, you know, give your kids the opportunity to make that same choice, to decide if they want to be an influencer. So my other favorite part of this park, aside from the wealth of playground equipment that I just realized I can't show you on YouTube, there is a pond back in here. During the pandemic, and I say that like it's over, but by the pandemic, I mean all of 2000, 2001. Okay, I have to interject here for a minute. I'm sure that you all keep time better than apparently my own head does. Clearly I meant 2020 and 2021, and yet at 3 different points in the video you're about to watch, I say 2000, 2001 as if time worked that way. I do know. Pandemic, 2020, 2021, ongoing, depending on your opinion. Just roll with it. Not saying that it's over, not saying that's when it started, just saying those are the 2 years that I count as the pandemic. Currently. I may revise those dates eventually. But during that span of time, one of the few times that I would actually leave my apartment and drive somewhere, I had the luxury of working from home. And so, because I had the luxury of working from home, I didn't have to go anywhere. And the only time that I would actually leave my apartment and go outside was to come to this park. So one of the public services that this park offers is that if you come back in here, you'll see it says maintenance area. And so if you live in an apartment complex on the north end of Columbus, Ohio, and you would like to recycle but can't because your apartment complex doesn't offer it, you can always bring all of your stuff right back here to this part, and it looks like you're driving into the maintenance shed, but you're not, of Sharon Woods Metro Park. And right back here, yep, they're still there, they have 4 giant recycling bins where you can bring your recycling and it'll go wherever Swaco takes their recycling. So I would come back here about once a month and bring my recycling back, and then I would stop. But I don't know if you can see it. I would stop the car right here, and from this vantage point, let me zoom in a little. See that little shimmer right there? That is the pond at Sharon Woods. And so I would come here and take one quick photo, and then over the course of the year, I would post those up to a social media site and say, you know, this is scenes from the pond. I'll try and grab those off of that site and string them all together for you so that you can see you know, a year or two's worth of progression of what that vantage point looked like over the course of, you know, 2001, 2000, 2001, before I moved into the car. So yeah, this is Sharon Woods, because this has always been a well-loved, well-used park. But I tell you what, if I had come here this same time a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have seen hardly any of these people. They're just, people weren't out here doing the thing. But it's got walking paths all over the place, and there are frequently deer back in here. Families use this park all the time for birthdays and celebrations. There's a couple of different shelter houses. You can come back in here. There's potable water, bathrooms. I don't think there are showers, but flush toilets. It's a day use park. They don't expect you to come here and camp. It's not that kind of park. But if you happen to be on the north end, and this is toward the northeast a little bit, and there's the section that we just drove back in, and then there's this section over here that I almost never drive into. So let's take a look. I haven't seen this section in a while. One could argue I'm not seeing it right now, but yeah, I always thought that this section of it was prettier to drive through, but there's somewhat less amenities back this way. But when they have you come do a hike at the park, I'm pretty sure they start you on this section. Park's up back in here a bit, so you end up walking a lot farther than they tell you you're going to walk. But there's a whole parking lot area off to the right there, and more restrooms and some signs. We're on the back side of the pond now, so it's not a super huge pond, but they'll take canoes out on it with the kids. The kids are allowed to fish in it. There's a natural play area off to the right. Because this is a metro park, it's a fairly groomed place with trails. They expect you to stay on the trail and not tromp down the grass, and they don't really want you walking through the wildflowers and climbing the trees. They'd rather you didn't, because they want it to stay here and be here for everybody to enjoy. And if the number of people who use these parks in a day all took their piece home, this place would be picked barren in a matter of a month, maybe. So a natural play area is a space where your kids can go roll around in dirt and, you know, stare at bugs and, you know, pull down twigs off trees. You know, like we all used to do when we were kids. But nobody goes outside anymore, and that's a shame. If you have kids who don't go outside, maybe take them to a metro park. Of course, if you have kids who don't go outside, you're probably not watching a van life video, but I could be wrong. I'd love to put some more shorts out there for you folks, but I've been having an absence of songs in my head. I did recently, from chatting with my hosts, learn that I know a lot more Creedence Clearwater Revival songs than I ever thought I knew. So, Born on the Bayou, and Looking Out My Back Door, and Centerfield. And honestly, I could only have told you Centerfield going into that conversation. But there was a list of, like, I don't know how many hits they've had, but I knew, like, I don't know, 6 out of every 10. It was ridiculous. So yeah, if you know who Creedence Clearwater Revival is or was, but don't think you like their music, I think you might need to look at their catalog one more time, because I bet you know more of their stuff than you think you do.